All right, so let's take a look at some that are a little bit more difficult here. So this one right here, we have 3 terms again. Okay, it's important to remember how many terms we have. Okay, what will normally happen is we'll have a greatest common factor, and then we'll have this many terms in our remaining polynomial. So if we look here, we have 4, 6, and 10. The greatest common factor we can take out is a 2. But now, unlike the previous ones, we have A4, A3, and A2. Now, we have a letter in each one, and they're all the same. It's all A's. But what we have to do is what is the minimum number of A's we can take out, and that is A squared. So our greatest common factor is going to be A squared. So this time when we do this, we're going to divide by 2A squared. So 6A cubed divided by 2A squared, and negative 10A squared divided by 2A squared. All right, so now what we do is we do the letters first, or the numbers first. 4 divided by 2 is just 2. A4, A2, so we have 4 here, and we're going to subtract 2, so we're going to be left with just 2. This one here, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and we have 3 and 2, and again we're going to subtract, so 3 minus 2 is just 1, so we're just going to be left with A. We could write A1 if we wanted to as well, but we don't need to. And finally, we have negative 10 divided by 2, which is negative 5, and we have A squared and A squared. 2 divided by 2 is 0, so that means that we have no A term remaining there. So then what we're going to have is we're going to have our greatest common factor, so this is our final answer here, and then our 3 remaining for the polynomial. And again, the order doesn't matter. I like to try to keep it in the same order if possible, but that doesn't always happen. Okay, but you'll notice here, this is the first one, second remaining, and third remaining, and so these are our 2 factors of this polynomial. Okay. The final one gets a little bit more tricky because we deal with multiple letters, but that's okay. Okay, so if we look at the greatest common factor, 4, 3, and 5, the greatest common factor we can divide out of there is 1. So we don't actually even have to do anything there. But we do have letters which will make a little difference. This one has 1x, this one has 2 x's, and this one has 1x. So the minimum number of x's is 1. Okay, that is in there. And then we also look at the y's. So we have 1y here, and 2y's there. So the minimum is, again, 1y. So we have xy, or x times y. Now, again, these are different letters, so we can't say x squared or xy squared or anything like that. But we put it together like that. This here means it's x squared times y. So it'd be like x times y. And this is y squared, so it's x times y times y. So that's what it represents. The squareds only go to the letter that they are with right there. Now if we factor this out, 4xy divided by xy, 3x squared y divided by xy, and negative 5xy squared divided by xy. So now we have our greatest common factor is only letters here. Now again, we look at the numbers first. 4 divided by 1 is just 4, doesn't change. There's still a 1 in front, always a 1 in front. X, there's 1x here and 1x here. If we subtract, there's no x's. Okay, so that cancels out. 1y and 1y, again, cancels out. So we're just left with 4. That's it. The second one, we have 3 divided by 1, which is just 3. We have 2 x's and 1x. So we subtract 2 minus 1 is 1. And we have 1y and 1y, so it becomes no y. So the y cancels out there. And the last one here, again, negative 5. That doesn't change. We have 1x, 1x, so x cancels out. 2 y's, 1y, so we're left with just 1y. 2 minus 1 is just 1y. Now we put this into our form here. Greatest common factor goes first. And then second, 4 plus 3x minus 5y is our remaining polynomial, and this would be in factored form. Now in the notes here, I've always put the greatest common factor in brackets. In the answer key, you'll notice that it's not. You don't have to put it into brackets. I just did just to show that it's 2 separate factors there. The assignment I'd like you to look at here is FA.02, numbers 1 to 7. It deals with factoring polynomials, and it starts with the basic polynomials and then moves its way to slightly more complicated polynomials as you go.